Hello, everyone. So we are going to be talking about Chapter 4 today. Starting at the beginning here, we're going to talk about creating a chart of accounts. So with this being said, a chart of accounts is your list of different accounts. So in Chapter 3, we journalized, and we had cash, we had accounts payable, accounts receivable, sales, prepaid insurance, supplies. Those are all accounts, right? The account title. So now we're moving into actually assigning accounts different numbers, okay? So there are two sides of our basic account type structure. So we are going to have the balance sheet account side and the income statement account side. We will use this in a couple of later chapters. Balance sheets think of as permanent accounts, and our income statement accounts are temporary, or they'll be zeroed out at the end of the fiscal year to be reset and restarted for the next year. Our 100 accounts, starting with our balance sheet account side, our assets are always going to be in the 100s. We are going to label these by tens, and they will be with the 100s. So all type of assets, for example, we have our cash that'll always go first, followed by accounts receivable, then supplies, and then prepaid insurance. Those are the ones we deal the most with. Then we have our liabilities. These are all of our accounts payable accounts for the 200s. For the 300s, we have owner's equity. So this is going to be your capital, your drawing, and eventually we will be adding in something called income summary. On the right-hand side, or the income statement account side, our 400s are going to be revenue. We're only going to be dealing with sales, so that will be our revenue account is sales. That will always be 410. Followed by expenses, which are our 500s. Now, there is a very big must-do for expenses, and they must be listed in alphabetical order. All accounts have to have a title. All accounts have to have an account number. All account numbers are assigned based on their classifications. Expenses are always listed in alphabetical order, and we're going by tens for each and every single one. It makes it a lot easier if we have another account we need to add in. We can then go by fives, and then we can go by ones after that. So we always go by tens, so that way we have enough room between if we need it. Example. We have accounts receivable, so we have a 100, a 100, a 100. So these are our assets. And then we have some expenses here, 510, 515, which we'll talk about in a second, 520, and 530. So if we create, so the ones that are not bolded, so our accounts receivable, supplies, advertising expense, and insurance expense, if we look at those are the ones that we already have done. If we have to add some in, like I was talking about up here, if we have to add in prepaid insurance, if it adds to the bottom, we just do the next 10. So if we're adding prepaid insurance, we can, for an asset, we just put it at the bottom and keep going. And that's not a big deal. We're not going to try to put it alphabetically. We're just going to put it at the end and add that 60. Then for our expenses, if we need to add gasoline expense and water expense, gasoline would have fit between advertising and insurance alphabetically, right? Your ABCs. We're going back to elementary school here. If we need to add one between, because they, again, expenses need to be in alphabetical order, we go by fives. So we had advertising expense at 510 and insurance expense at 520. In between those, 515 would be gasoline expense. Again, just like with the asset example, if we need to add something at the bottom, because water is going to be at the end of our alphabet, the W, we could just continue on with that next 10 if we're adding it to anything at the bottom.